Welcome to Digital APS. Today, we're at Swanson Middle School. Now, as you know, writing plays a huge role in instruction, and certainly when students come to middle school. One of the challenges for teachers is to be able to have students write longer and then track that writing over time. And what we found is using digital tools makes that job a whole lot easier. So we're here today to visit with Beth Sanderson and Rachel Affleck to see how it's done.
So one of the things about 6th grade in Arlington is that we have English and reading as separate classes. But when we teach it together, we allow our kids to have 90 minutes of language arts. So we will often do lessons across the English and reading classrooms. So Miss Affleck, who is the English teacher, and I am the reading teacher, we will do lessons together so the students get to work on things across those classrooms. So it allows us to have that 90 minutes.
So having two teachers is more helpful this year because we can coordinate our two assignments now, and we can work on them in both of the classes, and the technology helps that because it definitely helps connect the two classes, because now that we have our Google Classroom set up, it can connect our assignments that we have, and it's not physical, but it's technical, and that's easier to connect our two curriculums that we have.
When we have our kids write, we want them to look at what they do, we want them to look at the craft, we want them to think about the way that they write. And for this particular project, they're taking a core memory and they are adding things to it. We're having them transition, so they take a summer and compress it, or they take time and lengthen it for emphasis. We want them to look at the structure of their writing. In order to do that, we flip some of the instruction. So we have given them educreation videos that they're using on their iPads. We've used QR codes so that we can have stations, but the kids don't constantly have to be moving. So they'll switch a station by switching a sheet, and they use a QR code, and then they watch an educreation video. Once the kids watch the video, then they have an instruction sheet which shows them how they incorporate that into their core memory. And then we're letting them try it in different writings. Then they're highlighting what they're changing, so as teachers, we can look at their drafts and teach into what they don't understand. So we see where they've highlighted and they haven't done what they needed to, or we want them to add more. We can go back into their drafts tomorrow with them. So the majority of the class time is spent with them actually writing and trying the techniques.
Yeah, you're thinking because.
Yeah.
Which is purple. So if you want to do because, you can use purple.
I had already started this in reading earlier, so I have more time to see it out so I don't have to squish all of it into a certain period of time.
We have apps that can help us. So we have a QR reader and we scan it and it brings up something. So we don't have to have multiple pages to help us.
The technology also helps us a lot, and that this is a good way to practice writing.
So I would say either pick the purple or the red, so that's cause and effect or contrast.
Okay.
And add it to this one. And then tomorrow you're going to be developing one into a longer post that you're going to post on KidBlog.
It's easy to turn in, you don't have to worry, oh, where is it in my binder, or did I leave it at home or something. You can just turn it in on Google Classroom.
This has been a very kind of fun activity for us to do because it's taking something that isn't inherently that interesting for students. We're talking about kind of grammar and how different parts of sentences fit together and those kinds of things. But because the students are doing it with something that is authentic to them and their lives, and because they're able to use kind of these different technology tools, they're much more engaged in what we're doing, and they're much more willing to continue working. If I prompt a kid that has done an okay job to improve something or to work on it more or to develop an idea, they're much more willing to do that when it's something that they're buying into, that's important to them.
You got. Oh. So that you know what transition.
My role really as their teacher is to kind of facilitate their learning in all of the wide variety of things they're going to read and write throughout their lives. So really what I want them to do and what I want them to learn how to do is to be able to take those skills and strategies we're talking about and use them when I'm not there.
I think it's really cool to see Miss Affleck and Miss Sanderson kind of have a really cool friendship, and I just think it's a lot easier when it comes to teaching.
So I think one thing that I'm really able to do with using the iPads and the technology that we have is to kind of release a lot of what I'm doing to the students, so they're applying it in something that's meaningful to them.
The technology and the students having more of the time to do the actual work has helped differentiate in my classroom. It's allowed students who get it to move on and to really extend. And the students who need more help, I can look at their work as they're drafting and go in and help teach right into that moment for them. So it's allowed the time in class. It's a better use of my time as a teacher, and it's a better use of their time because it gets them to where they all need to be at their own pace.
You get to know how to be a writer, and you can do better stuff on here.
We have it all in this single piece of technology, and that's definitely more helpful in achieving our goals and doing our classwork.
Remember, if you have questions for the show, we can be reached via email at digital.aps@apsva.us, and please follow us on Twitter @digitalaps.